Hello, my name is Chris, and today I'd like to talk a little bit about dealing with holiday season stress without smoking. To be truthful, this could easily just be called dealing with stressful situations without smoking. What I'm about to say applies pretty much all year round. However, I am aware that tomorrow is Halloween, then my American friends have Thanksgiving coming up, then there's Christmas and New Year. My friends in other countries and of other faiths and religions have their own celebrations and holidays, and it can all be very stressful even in a normal year. Then you add all the stress and panic and confusion of living in a global pandemic, and it can become really tough to deal with without reaching for those cigarettes. And when I first started to put this video together, I was thinking back to when I first quit smoking. I battled with it over the summer. I had my last cigarette, I think it was September. So then in the October, November, December, during the holiday season, I was a very new non-smoker, and I remember feeling very vulnerable and really like I had to plan and think and strategize about how I was going to get through this tough period. And one of the first things that I had to tell myself was that there is no such thing as a good time or a bad time to quit smoking. Because it would have been very easy to say, well, everything's really stressful and really busy right now, so if I relapse, nobody could blame me, and it's just not a good time, I'll quit when it is a good time. If I'd have done that, I would have said, well, okay, the holidays is not a good time to quit smoking, and then I'd go back to work and go, well, work is really busy, so this is not a good time, and then I've got that going on over there, so that's not a good time, and I've got this going on over here, so that's not a good time. I think if we wait around for the stars to align and the universe to come together and create this magical time for us when it's just perfect to quit smoking, it's probably never going to happen. So the holidays is probably as good and as bad a time as any. Yes, it's going to be stressful, but there are so many other stressful things in life. And if we can get through this period, if we can prove to ourselves that we don't need to smoke to get through stressful situations, it holds us in good stead for pretty much the rest of our smoke-free lives. God, I remember I was planning this Christmas party and it was super stressful, but I didn't smoke, and that means that I can deal with this stress at work, or I can deal with that person that always triggers me without smoking. Besides, the further we get into this holiday season, the more opportunities we have to take some time out to enjoy a little downtime, to take that self-care that we may need to just to look after ourselves as we're going through the quit process. Nights are getting darker, we're spending more time indoors. It's perfect time for going, well, I'm really stressed, but it's okay, I'm going to just pull the duvet over my head and watch movies until this thing passes. Besides, and this is very important, and like I say, it applies all year round, no amount of cigarettes in the world are going to influence external events. There are no amount of cigarettes in the world that will change a red light to green, that will make a boss be nice to us when previously he was an arsehole. There are no amount of cigarettes in the world that is going to make that Christmas party run smoothly, or organising our Thanksgiving dinner over Zoom. No amount of cigarettes in the world are going to change that. Whatever is going on for us, we go, well, I need this cigarette to deal with the stress of this situation. But do you? And is it actually helping? Let's say, okay, we've got this one relative that we only see at the holidays, and who is a constant source of stress for us, is a constant trigger. So we're trying to deal with, we're trying to have a holiday meal and the stressing goes out. So we're like, I'm going to go outside and have a cigarette. So you have the cigarette because cigarettes relieve stress, and this person's stressing me. So I'll have the cigarette, and then I go back inside, and you know, this person hasn't become any less stressful. They haven't become any less of a trigger, and then they just trigger us all over again, and we've got to go back outside and have another cigarette. And a thought that literally just occurred to me as I'm making this video, that is giving somebody else so much power over us, because we think about what cigarettes are doing, you know, they're choking us, they're poisoning us, they're filling us with all this toxic gunk. We're going, well, you stress me out, so as a reward for you stressing me out, I'm going to let you be the source of me poisoning myself and damaging myself. I'm not going to give that person that kind of power over me. You don't get to influence what I put in my body today. Yes, you stress me out, yes, you annoy me, but I am not going to damage myself because of you. Besides, we can think about it this way. Quite often, if there's a stressful situation and we take a time out to go and smoke, it's the time out that we really need. It isn't necessarily the cigarette. We just need to escape that situation for 5 minutes. I remember I've talked about this so many times, that one of the times when I used to smoke the most was when I was at work. I'd do a bit of work and then I'd go off and have a cigarette, and come back and do a bit more work and go off and come back and go off and come back. You know, I was speaking with someone a couple of weeks ago and they said, you know, sometimes I just, you know, I look after all my kids and sometimes I just need to escape for 5 minutes and go and have a cigarette. Or I've got this family situation and I just need to escape and go and have a cigarette. But it's the escape. It's that time out that we really need, or that we're trying to get. It isn't the cigarette itself. The cigarette is just an excuse to go away, to get out of there for 5 minutes. The thing is, we don't need an excuse to get out for 5 minutes. We can just get up and go. Take that time out, and when we're out, we don't need to choke, poison ourselves. We can do something different. We can just go outside and take a deep breath. We can do, I made that video a few months ago about creating a smoke-free sanctuary, that place in your home or wherever you are that's just for you, that you can go and retreat to, where you don't have to smoke. If it is a breathing thing, just to calm down. I always talk about my favourite breathing technique is the 4-4-4 technique, where we breathe in for the count of 4, hold it for the count of, and we breathe out for the count of 4. That was a bit cack-handed, but you know what I mean. And personally, I think stepping outside to breathe has a much more calming effect than smoking ever did. Because if you think about what's happening when we smoke, we're increasing our blood pressure, we're reducing our oxygen, and when we don't have enough oxygen going to the brain and the body, our ability to make those smart, rational decisions is compromised a little bit. Whereas if we breathe in, getting more oxygen, we just naturally feel calmer. Personally, I find it does for me far more good to take a few deep breaths than smoking ever did. Usually around Christmas I tend to make a video about surviving Christmas sober without drinking alcohol. And in those videos I always talk about, one of the best things that works for me is having an escape route, what I like to call an exit strategy. A kind of plan so that if an event or a party or whatever the case may be just gets a little too much and I feel like I might relapse or might do something, unhelpful, I can just get out of there. And one of the best things that always seems to work for me is to just plant in people's minds before I go the idea that I may have somewhere else to be later on. So I might say, yes, I will absolutely come to your party, but I've also said that I might stop by my other friend's party as well. So I'm going to come, but I may have to leave early. And I've never met anyone who said, well, you're a dick if you do that. So no, everyone says, yeah, okay, it'd be just nice to see you. And I always say I may have to go somewhere. I never say I absolutely have to. Because then if I go to this party and it's fine and I don't feel stressed or triggered at all, then I don't have to leave. But if I do feel triggered, if I do feel overwhelmed, I can be like, I said that I might have somewhere else to go. Well, I gotta go there, so bye and have a wonderful Christmas. And it might be things like driving yourself to an event. Kind of, as I say this, I'm aware that, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Almost everything we do is on Zoom. But let's say, for the sake of this video making sense, let's say that, we are going to an actual event with other people. If we drive ourselves and we don't give anyone a lift, then it's like, I can just get out of there and I'm not reliant on anybody else. You might have a completely different exit strategy or escape plan. It might be that, if you're hosting an event, again, you have that smoke-free self-care sanctuary you can just go to for 5 minutes and that is filled with all those things that make you feel calm and relaxed, and you can just have a breath in. On the subject of alcohol, I never want to be the kind of person that comes on here and says, don't do this ever, or else everything is going to be terrible. But if you find that drinking alcohol is a trigger for smoking, then it may be that for just this holiday season you sit it out and you don't drink. Especially if you're new to smoking. New to not smoking, new to smoking. If you're new to not smoking and you find that alcohol is a trigger, it might just be an idea to not, to stay sober just for this year. Very early on when I started making these videos, I said that for me, I had to cut caffeine out and I had to stop drinking coffee in order to quit smoking, because coffee was always a trigger for me. Any kind of caffeine was always a trigger for me. Now that I'm a couple of years down the line, I can drink a cup of coffee and have no desire to smoke. And it's going to be the same with alcohol, I'm pretty sure of it. Again, I'm not trying to say don't drink alcohol because alcohol is bad. I have no moral issue with anyone drinking alcohol if they can do it safely and it doesn't wreck their lives. But it would be, if you said, well, Chris, I keep running into this brick wall trying to get to the other side and I keep banging my head and hurting myself. Well, stop running into the brick wall. Chris, I keep eating peanuts and getting an allergic reaction. Stop eating the peanuts. Chris, I keep drinking and every time I drink I end up smoking. Stop drinking then, just for a little bit of time. Until such a point where you don't need to not drink, where you don't need to take on any of the advice in this video or any other video that I've ever made. That's the beauty of it. That is the absolute beauty of quitting smoking, is that yes, it can be tough in the beginning. Yes, when we face situations where we used to smoke and we face them for the first time without a cigarette, it can be scary and difficult and confusing to know what to do. But in time, we just reach a point where we just go through our lives and cigarettes do not factor into the equation. These days, I still get stressed, I still get overwhelmed, I still deal with challenging situations, but at no point does a cigarette enter my thought as an option. It's never a case of, oh, I'm stressed, I could smoke but I'm not going to. It's just, I'm stressed and I have other ways to cope. Like I said, I've said in the past, at some point we reach a point in our journey where our mindset is the same as someone who has never smoked. Someone who has never smoked never considers having a cigarette when they're dealing with that stressful person at the party. They just walk away, and that's all we need to do. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video is, giving you something to think about at least. Or if not, just kept you away from a cigarette for 20 minutes. For more support and to join a wonderful community of people who are all at different stages of their quit process and all coming together to help one another, come and join our Facebook group. It is facebook.com/findingfreedom1. There you will meet my wonderful friend Vicky, who moderates the group and who planted the idea of making this video weeks ago. So thank you once again, Vicky. And if you've enjoyed the content of this video and other videos, you may also enjoy my book. It is called Quit Smoking and Be Happy, available in print and ebook form. Links are in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.